All right. Hi, everyone. This is Reverend Kenneth Price on Sunday, December 1st, with my mighty companion, Reverend Dale Blackford, for his weekly podcast. You can see behind me, Freedom from Suffering. We do this every Sunday, 3 o'clock Guadalajara time, 1 o'clock San Diego time. And this is Dale's hour to, I've gone through this so many times. Sermon, satsang, lecture, stream of consciousness. Anyway, Dale has been a unity minister for decades. I've been a minister for Living Church Ministries for almost a year. And Dale and I have known each other for 15 years. And I feel his message. I feel very strongly about his message. And that's why we started this ministry last spring, so that there would be an opportunity to begin to formally document some of the powerful wisdom that he's accumulated on his path, and that I just feel wisdom is one of the most valuable contributions that a person can make to our world at this time. So generally, I just sit back, and Dale does what's, I guess it would be called channeling. That's a very broad word, but when someone just kind of lets go and lets spirit use them to be a messenger, then I guess it would be under that category. So, Dale, how are you this afternoon? And what have you got to? How do I say this? I've always got to be very careful with my words. What have you got to channel for us, or deliver for us, or what are you feeling this afternoon?
Yeah, thanks, Kenny. Well, I'm feeling good. I'm doing really, really well. This is kind of the thing about life when you are more present. My partner's been in the hospital since Tuesday. She's had she's chronically ill for a long time now and struggles with that, and I'm with her on that. And but I'm doing okay. I mean, I'm doing fine. It's like that's one of the things that's changed in my life is that you don't change your mood and stuff like that because life is what life is. You just stay present and notice and find the bliss in everything. There is bliss in everything. I mean, that's what Einstein was saying when he was saying, I heard was, whether the most important decision you make is whether or not you live in a friendly or hostile universe. And then everything changes when you choose that you live in a friendly universe. Everything changes because your decision making has radically changed. You no longer have the decision available to determine that something is wrong or needs fixing or is bad. You can't have that anymore. You've got to really decide that, well, you're not seeing something, which is the truth. I mean, that's the reality. Uh, Spiritual practice, which I want to talk about a little bit today. I know it's like I was thinking that, for spiritual practice, if somebody asked me what to do for spiritual practice, the main thing, I think the main thing would be to start noticing and accepting that you don't know anything, that everything you're seeing is suspect. I mean, not just suspect, it's just not what you think it is. Does that mean you can't act on things in this world? No, you can do that, but you have to realize that you're not really acting on anything with any real meaning or substance. You're acting within the play. And you're creating roles and dealing with your role and other people's roles in the play. That's not bad, that's not wrong, but it is a play. And in spiritual practice, really, the best thing you can do is start to notice how suspect it is, because then you can start finding your way to start making the belief, like accepting the belief that it is suspect, that it is not real, and that you want to see reality. And to want to see reality, that's a combination of the desire to see that because there's so much to see that you're not seeing, and also versus also the other where you're creating such a small perceptive world that you're suffering in the experience of that, not the reality of it, but you're suffering from the experience, identifying with this basically irrational sense of belief and a world that you live in. I mean, if you think about it, when you leave this planet, when you die, I don't know when you're a baby, when you come into this, I don't know how much awareness you have as far as I probably do, but you're probably much more open to to seeing that because at the place you're at when you're coming into the world. But when you leave the world, that's got to be radically different, where you've spent a lifetime attaching to all the things in here, and you find out that you leave and you're not actually gone. You've left everything behind, and the world has expanded somehow. I mean, everything has expanded. I can't, the change from attachment within the world to having no world to attach to must be phenomenal, phenomenal. And I would think peaceful and blissful as well. Once you get through the dying part, that's, I don't think death is anything to be feared. And death, I think, is beautiful, probably experientially beautiful as well. Dying, on the other hand, is not necessarily so experientially fine, because we're holding on. We're holding on, and we're like we're holding on with our dying breath to control of maintaining this illusion we've created. And so the best thing you can do in spiritual practice is to start noticing that this isn't what you think it is, that you are not who you think you are, and the world is not what you think it is, and the person you think is a person is not who you think you are, and the circumstances that you think, they are not what you think they are. They are not. Even if you're attached to them and you're acting on them, there's that part of you that starts to get that. I mean, this is why Jesus taught forgiveness. So that was his main. If you look at Jesus in his ministry, as far as we know of Jesus, if you look in the Gospel of Thomas, maybe not. Maybe he was teaching more presence. But if you look at the standard Gospels, his teaching was forgiveness, no harm, no foul. And that makes total sense if you think about it, because basically he's saying, you don't know what's going on. You've made a judgment about it. You need to accept the fact that your judgment is off. So forgiveness is essential, which true forgiveness is not forgiving somebody for transgressing the real rules of the world, or the reality of a situation. No, there's no reality there. Forgiveness is no harm, no foul. That's what forgiveness is. No harm, no foul. I don't know what's going on here, other than I'm not seeing it. It's a friendly universe. And if I'm judging it as hostile, which we do in this world all the time, it's built upon it, duality of right, wrong, good, bad, up, down, all that. We're going to, if we're doing that, we have to let that go. You're not going to necessarily let it go first, but you got to forgive yourself for attaching to it. I mean, living a lie is not a bad thing, but it is a lie. And you have to forgive yourself for living that lie and trying to project it all the way on everything around you, which is and projecting isn't like it's harming anyone. The deal with projection is if you're projecting it outward, that means you are not looking at it inward. And that's the whole point. If you're not looking at it inward to see how flawed it is, and you're projecting it out because of your certainty, well, that goes on and on and on and on and on until collapse occurs. For most people, it's physical death. That's the collapse. There are other collapses that occur and that people are aware, there's all kinds in the world where people collapse and their life changes. The collapse that happens, so where you would detach from the body in your world, that's quite a collapse. And that can happen in the world. That's been happening to me and people I know. There's a few that I know that's happening to them, that they're collapsing. Their self is collapsing, their sense of self, their world is collapsing. And instead of trying, they've reached the point where they're not, instead of marshaling all their forces to, get up and try and collect it again, they've reached a point where they're seeing that it's uncollectible. Like an alcoholic, basically it's a worldaholic, a selfaholic, where an alcoholic would go, you know what? I'm not going to be able to put this together. This drinking is not going to get me what I want. I don't know how to stop. I give up. Help. And that's the start of forgiveness. It's the same way with the world. And for most people, this is why I say the best thing you can do is to start noticing and affirming. I mean, that's why when I started really doing the most work on this, I was great. I didn't get a new thing, but I got a structure that was structured. It was a universal truth that was structured well, and that was Byron Katie's work. Byron Katie's work is really structured well because it's about that. It's really about questioning everything. It's about questioning everything and asking yourself if you know that this is true, which for me ended up being a question on everything. Originally, the stuff that bothered me, that I was working hard on, or I had worries or anxiety about, issues with, it would be, do I know that this means what I think it means? That's where it started. And I'd have to keep asking myself that. Do I know that this overdue tax and stuff like that, and what's going to cause me, or this relationship and the issue that happened with someone cheating on me or something like that, do I know that this means what I think it means? And I would really come to the point where I would have to go, well, I really don't know that. I'm judging and perceiving that that's what it means, but do I know absolutely that's true? And I go, no, I can't know that, can I? Because I'm working from perception. I'm working from perceived beliefs based on a whole library of mankind's perceived beliefs with no fundamental basis at all for it. Just perception of what we think is happening in a phenomenally created world that we identify with, and deciding what the phenomenal forms and the relationships mean. And then we build a world upon that. Well, any sane person would, if they really looked at that objectively, they'd say that's batshit crazy. That can't be real. We don't know that that means anything. And then you look at even vision, where you look at all your senses of its essential universe, sense of sight, touch, sound, taste. What's the other one? I forgot it. Well, smell. Yeah. Okay. They're senses, but what they mean, like what they smell like, or what they look like, or what they mean, that is all formulated not out here, but in here. It's all, that's where we formulate it, in here. We formulate that it means that. I mean, if something tastes good, it doesn't taste out here in the object. It tastes in here. So everything is in here. And then we've made judgments about what it means. So we're living that way. And everyone around us is living this way. So yeah, it's like the emperor's new clothes everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. Okay. And so am I going to sit here and say, well, I'm going to teach you to be the little boy that says, hey, this is crazy. This is irrational. No, I'm not going to do that, because that's insane. You'll never be able to do that. But you have the ability to do that. In fact, you not only have the ability to do that, you're on a shelf life of having to do that. Whether it means dying or whatever, you're going to be on a shelf life that says you have to come to terms with that, because this shall all pass away. This always passes away. But who you are and who's noticing, that does not pass away. That's eternal. And in fact, it expands beyond the idea of who you are, like you, even the concept of you, I think, beyond into oneness. So the best thing you can do is to start noticing that everything that you're looking at is suspect. And, like, especially if you're looking at, especially spiritual practice, because damn, spiritual practice is all based on getting better. If you're perfect, how do you get better? How do you get better? How do you get better from perfection? Tell me how that's sane. That is so, I mean, you're judging it as being less than. Yeah, okay, I get that. But that doesn't make it real. That's where the question comes in and says, do I know that this means what I think it means? No, I don't know that. The ego says, well, then give me the better way. And I sit there, and at first I'm going like, I don't have a better way, other than I know that it's not true. I know that it can't be true, that I'm, like, so what you're saying is going to happen eventually with the conversations with the ego is like, you need to fix this. You need to make this well. And at some point I go, well, I can't. I don't have any vision or juice or faith or belief in that anymore. I don't know that it's real. How can you work on something when you don't even know that you have any effect upon it, or that even anything's wrong with it? How can you do that? You can't do that. You have no motivation. The real motivation. I mean, if you have motivation to get some money in the world, I get that as long as you're invested in the world. You can focus that motivation, or if you think health, if you want to focus on your motivation to be well, if you're attached to the body, yes, I get it. But when you start detaching and you start standing at the spirit's length, holding everything, realizing you're manifesting it and you don't know what it means, then you start losing the juice and the motivation to change anything, because you really don't know that it in fact, you have to doubt that it needs any change, because again, if it's a friendly universe, completely friendly, how can there be anything in it that says to you it should be better or could be better or needs to be better? You can't say that, because that's not a friendly universe. That's a hostile one. The friendly one is one that where everywhere you turn, the universe in its own way, it feels, and it isn't like this, but it feels like the universe is conspiring to bring you light in everything. And as you become aware of that and you start turning to that, you can start to see that. But at first, you have to recognize that you're entertaining the darkness and you're attached to the darkness, and that's okay, because anybody who came into this place with one of these things, this brain in here and this reflective thinking, would have done the same thing. That's why religion is kind of sometimes a crock, because people are saying like, well, you shouldn't be thinking that way. You shouldn't be acting that way. Bullshit. That's total bullshit. Of course you would be acting like that when you're identified with it. You'd be trying everything your ego said, to save yourself from your perceived danger. Okay, you can't even drop that until you finally, realize that the danger you're holding so tightly, you open your hands and you go, well, there's nothing there. Oh, well, I don't have to fight for this, do I? No, you don't. Now all you have to do is just keep reminding yourself, asking yourself in every moment, are you okay? Well, yeah, in this moment, I'm okay. Is there anything else? No, I guess not. Just keep asking yourself. So that question, I'm going around that question about this says, and on everything says, do I know that this means what I think it means? As you practice that, starts becoming something, and it could be your own way, but that's one way of seeing that. Like, I'm not saying, for instance, I'm not saying, instead of, do I know that this means what I mean, what I think it means? I'm not following that with, well, then what does it mean? Who cares? It means an infinite variety of perfection. Who cares what you don't want to pinhole it down, because you'd be wrong anyways. It's much larger than that. But you need to see how you're pinholing things. You need to start seeing that, just to recognize that you're entertaining lies and you're attached to them, and you are the people, you are of the group, the whole planet, who is the emperor, so honoring the emperor's new clothes. You're saying this is what's going on because everybody says it is. Well, it's not. You're eternal. This all changes. You don't. The only thing that changes is your perception, even of your infinite reality. That changes, not because it changes, just your perfection of it. Your perception of it. That changes because your perception is always some kind of a little container that you're holding it in. And that always changes, always changes. So forgiveness is essential. No harm, no foul. And you're going to find, practicing this, you'll end up connecting with people like myself, like Kenny. You'll start connecting with people who will support you in entertaining that. Even in 12-step groups, if you get in the right 12-step group, because they're not all like that, but you have to kind of read between the lines, because a lot of the 12-step groups work, the 12 steps work and the group works. But a lot of times it's designed to work to condition you to a better situation in the horror show. Okay? Like, I'm in recovery. I'm recovering from the horror show. Well, you're not recovering from the horror show. Actually, you're waking up from practicing it. You're waking up from practicing it. You're not, and being attached to it. That's what's going on. You never were in the horror show. In fact, that's why your addiction was your best friend, because it was the thing that drove you to go, wait a minute, what is going on here? I'm just beating the hell out of myself and I trying to change myself and nothing happens. And it just feels like this is a horror show. And it's like, of course it's a horror show because you're seeing it as a horror show and you're thinking that you have to change it from a horror show. You have to start noticing that that's what you're doing, not change it even. I mean, when an alcoholic collapses, hits rock bottom, it isn't because they've done anything amazing. They have done something amazing, and that is they've practiced alcoholism to the bottom. They've practiced it to the dead end. That's a great thing. The angels all celebrate. They go, "Bravo, Bob! You were such a damn good addict. You took it to the mat. What did you find?" "I found nothing there." "Yes, yes, you found nothing, didn't you? There was nothing there to threaten you, was there?" "No, no, no." Then of course, if you want to get back into it, you pick up all the, and I'm just picking on this a little bit because I love 12 steps, but you pick up all the 12 steps and say, "Oh yeah, but I might go back there again." There you are. You're already back there. You're already back there. You're already back there when you say that and you see that you're still attached. But the thing that's changed is you found out where the detachment point is. And you found the freedom of detachment. And I mean, complete freedom that you are, because when an addict hits rock bottom, they hit bliss when they hit rock bottom. I mean, when they finally accept that that's the 12, that's Kubler-Ross saying, denial, anger, denial, bargaining, depression, acceptance. That's freedom. That's freedom. And that point. And the nice thing about it is, can I say that if you hit rock bottom on something that you will never experience that again? No, 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 that's not true. But I can tell you this, if you hit rock bottom even once in anything, you'll never be able to hold on tightly like you did before to anything, because you know that you're lying to yourself. You know that you're having to really put a lot of energy, which you still seem to have, in belief structures, which you still seem to have, into trying to remanifest this horror show. And you can't really do it. You can kind of do it. You can kind of bring up memories of it, but you're going to fail faster and faster and faster at everything, because everything starts to collapse. Once one point collapses in your belief structure control, all points start to collapse. That's why we also have this website and stuff like that, because when you share that with other people who are going through the same thing, it's like you collectively collapse together. And that's beautiful, because then you can, instead of going like, "What the hell's happening to me?" You're with a friend who's going like, "That's happening to you too?" "Yeah, yeah, we're okay, aren't we?" "Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. This is what happens. And we're doing it together." Well, wow. And then it frees you. So again, spiritual practice. I mean, even I love Krishnamurti. I forget how he said it, but he was asked about meditation, and basically he went, "That's another way to hold on. Meditation is another way to hold on." And if you think about it, it is. There was a meditation group I think it's still practicing on the internet, this big meditation group. And I'd keep reading the texts all the time, the comments, and everyone would be saying stuff. I mean, not everyone, but so many of them would be saying like, "Oh, well, I've practiced meditation faithfully now for 55 days. Who the hell cares? You think there's a scorecard for this shit? There's no scorecard for this. You don't get anything for doing it, other than other than the fact that you've been busy like battling and keeping a timetable and a list of your experiences with horror. True meditation is just being present, whether your eyes are closed or you're walking around. You start to notice. Real meditation is noticing, and then the clouds of thought don't disappear. It's just you can watch them because they don't have any hold on you anymore. You're not sitting there going like, "I must focus on the candle. I must focus on my name, my mantra, because these things will get me. These illusionary things that have no power that I created, they're going to get." "Oh, wait a minute. I created them. They're illusionary. They have no power. What am I battling here?" You're battling yourself, aren't you? Yes, you got to notice that. You got to notice that. And not to say to stop it. Actually, it would be good to keep doing it. It's because you can. That's why with addicts, I say if you're acting out, that's the greatest thing in the world. Just start noticing what you're doing and what it's getting you. That's powerful stuff. That is powerful truth that will make you free, is to notice what's a lie that you're practicing, and where it goes. That is powerfully knowing the truth that makes you free. And that's the kind of truth you want to find. You know, the higher truths, they can kind of be a pain in the ass at times, because you can look at them and you go, and then your ego will go, yeah, but we're not there, buddy. We're coming back down to here. So, yeah, that's true, but not for you. That's in the future. That's in the future, or that was something you experienced in the past. We're right here, right now, battling through the nitty gritty. Okay, and then, in a way, it's true, because you're still attached, so you're battling through your attachments. But if you're battling through your attachments, using them proactively, then you're in a friendly universe. You're going like, God, well, I drank again today, and I drank again today, and you know what? It did the same thing again, and even more so. How did I feel? I felt sick. I saw how I even knew it was coming, and I still wanted to do it. Man, what a belief structure I have that causes me to do that. Oh, well, that's addiction. That's the power of addiction. That's outside you, that somehow snuck into you in some way from your parents or something like that, and you don't have any control over that. It just snuck in and took you. It's a disease. It's a microbe that came into you. No, it's not a microbe that came into you. No, it's not a microbe that came into you. It's just what you're doing. And anyone who had one of these things when they come to this world at this place in time would do the same thing. We're practicing waking up to our insane use of thought. We're practicing it. And that's why thought will not help you. It will help you, yes. It'll help you act out. Thought will help you act out and help you try to do. It's the field work we do. Thought will do that. But at some point, what you're living in a world you're living in a realm of insight where God's love and freedom and not new imprints are all around you that you've never considered, that are coming into you, but you're sitting there going like, no, I'm focused on this thing. Here's the problem. I don't have room for that. I don't have room for that. I've got just this problem and what I think about it and what others have thinking about it. And what's my psychologist says this, or what the workshop says this. I'm too busy with that. Yeah, you are. And that's why you're in hell. That's why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. But insight, which is like, that I always use that one because it was the big awareness for me in insight when I've been going 2 years in the dark night of the soul, figuring I'm just going to end up on the street, and I'm going to be eating out of garbage cans, and I'm going to be living in a box, and I'll jettison my kids and stuff like that because I'll just be too ashamed to even see them. And there's no hope. I don't see how this is going to change. It's going to take me right there. It took me 2 years of crippling myself inside, holding on to that. And how many years before? Waiting to actually fully cripple myself, probably for a long time when it was first saw it in the world and I first accepted it. But then it gets to this point and I'm walking around going, inside like, oh my God, I'm doomed. It's going to happen. I'm going to end up there. I can't stop it. There's nothing in me that works. I can't, like goal setting or nothing or visualization. I got no juice. I can't keep it from happening. And then the insight, and I'm going like, and then all of a sudden I had every moment, before I went to bed, I'd have a moment that I would be actually clear because I was so grateful that I had that moment before I went to sleep where I could actually take a breath and be okay with myself just before I went to sleep. And in that moment, I was like that. And the voice of insight comes in and says, Dale. And I go, whoa, don't, because part of me is going like, don't interrupt this moment of peace I have. Kind of like that, but it wasn't that strong because I was ready for anything. He says, Dale. And I go, what? And he goes, Dale. I go, what? Says, if you were going to that hell house that you're talking about, that whole hell place that you got all mapped out. Yeah, what? Well, you wouldn't be worrying about whether or not you were going to go there anymore. I go, I didn't see that. I would take that. And I didn't even know that I was healed of it in that moment. Took me 6 more weeks of crippling around inside to finally, just holding on to it, afraid to look, almost like with my eyes closed, afraid to look and to see and to feel what was going on really inside me. And then the voice goes, hey, Dale. I go, what? What? And he goes, Dale. I go, what? He says, how long has it been since you worried about the future? I'm free, aren't I? I'm free, aren't I? I mean, I didn't figure it out. I'm just free, aren't I? Oh my God, I'm free. I'm not, I'm not worried about that anymore. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. I'm okay, aren't I? It's like, yeah, yeah. Because insight is freeing. Insight is friendly. Insight is perfect. Insight is collective. Insight is everything. Everything. Thinking is microscopic horror, microscopic control. You can't get anywhere with microscopic control except reflections on control. And that's not very much fun. I mean, even when you get, I mean, sometimes that drama you like, when you see like you rise and you win, like I won this, I became the best at it, you can go, yeah. But you know in your heart of hearts that you're going to slide down again. Every hero, everyone who's won everything. I mean, look at all the people, the rock stars and the people, the movie stars and stuff like that. The movie stars, I think, is just the greatest because they always end up on the front of what's that magazine, the one, the rag in the supermarket where they say the last tragic days of blah blah blah.
Inquirer.
Yeah, the National Enquirer, because, and I don't know that any of that's true, but yeah, because everyone's success story is followed by if that's the epitome, then it's followed by the actual opposite of that, which is the loss of the control of that and inability to do anything about it. Because when you die, no one successfully wills death. It's taken from you. Everything, your will is taken from you. It's taken from you because you have no power anymore over anything when you die, because that's how you die. You let go and you forgive yourself for having held on. Forgive yourself for having held on because anyone would have held on and you held on well, and that's okay. But now is the time when you're not going to hold on. That's why my dad was so frightened when he died, I didn't know he was dying, but he was so frightened, and I never seen fear in him because God had really, the Spirit was telling him this. He was saying, you're going to let go now. He's like, I can't let go. And he says, well, there's no alternative here. This is collapse time, buddy. This is the time when do you have anything in there to hold on to any of this? No, no, no. Well, that's where it's going. But the good news is you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. The bad news is it's probably going to scare the shit out of you at first because you're so attached, and you're going to have to break that attachment. How can I get a workshop or something? Of course. Can I have 5 years to do it? No. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. With your breath, you will let go. So, spiritual practice. Thinking. That's why with thinking too, like I mean, you have to really relook at thinking. That, I mean, you can use thinking, you can use all kinds of thinking because the world is crafted. It's made of thought formed from thinking. You know, we have thinking, for instance, for brain surgery because we have thinking for brains going bad. Okay, we have all of that. We have all that. We have up and down, good and bad. We have it all. We have all that from thought forms, but it's all a small little myopic world about good, bad, that we look at everything and we ignore everything else and just on the things that we have a sense of perception of, and that's the world that we live in. And we also think that everybody else is living in the same world, but they're not. They're crafting their own version of it. And then we've crafted a language that says, so we can talk about it, so we can say, well, that your world's just like mine, though, isn't it? Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, because we're talking about it. We're afraid of the same things, right? And we're describing them in words that sound like the same things, and we're describing freedom from it, from hostility in the same ways, and as the goal. So they must be the same worlds. They're not. They're not. They're just the way we see them, and we're using the words to, like everything else, like blur and grab hold of things and say, well, this is what this is. We don't even know what that is. All we really know is when we start working on it and asking ourselves, again, the question, do I know that this means what I think it means? No. And then as you practice that long enough, then it becomes a statement, because what you start realizing is every thought you question, you're going to end up eventually going, well, I don't know that I can't be sure that this means what I think it means. So then you're on something that you're saying, like, or something like that. This is my process where I went, well, no, I know this doesn't mean what I think it means. And then it becomes an operating system within the midst of my insanity, which is my thinking. Okay, it becomes an operating system, like a golden thread in the midst of my thinking that moves through every thought and every attempted action. So even when I react, whatever I do, when I react insanely, there's that golden thread in the midst that says, I'm saying, like, well, you shouldn't treat me like that. I don't know that this means what I think it means, do I? Well, that shouldn't be like, I don't know that this means what I think it means, do I? Well, but I feel this way. I don't know that that means what I think it means, do I? No, I really don't know anything, do I? No. And then the universe eventually starts showing you, say, I love you when you're doing that, Dale, because when you don't know anything about anything, that means you're available to see everything. Because you can't stay hooked on what is not, you can't even trust. You're suddenly available to see more. Oh, yeah. Is that what's happening? Yeah, that's what's happening. It's pretty simple. When you're not occupied with lies, you can see truth. You can see truth, and truth is friendly. You don't even have to work it. Jesus didn't say, you shall know the truth, and then I'll teach you to become a master of applying it so that maybe you'll be free. He didn't say that. He says, you shall know the truth. And I'm not banking on Jesus. I just love Jesus. That's the only reason I use him, because he's my buddy. And I just, in a cosmic way, in a flawed way too. I don't care. But the compassion, or the meaning of Jesus in his presence was like, in him saying that. I believe he said that. If he didn't, he should have said it, which was, just know the truth, and the truth itself will make you free, which for the most part, all of us, the truth we want to know are the lies. We want to know how much we're living in lies. That will set us free. That's the practice. Not improving, saying, oh, well, this thought is wrong, but it would be better if I imaged it like this, like, oh, I don't like my job. It would be better if I had a job where people appreciated me more, and I was wasn't harming the earth, and da 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 da. It's like, spirit's going like, oh, sounds like the same old to me. Knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. Because you're gonna, if you found flaw in one place, you're gonna find flaw in the next. The question is, you can find flaw and you can release it now, right now, where you are. You don't need anything else. All you need is to see within this moment what is actually happening. That's all you need. And that can happen whether you're a brain surgeon or you're homeless on the street. That can happen anywhere, because it's not relegated to the world or how the world appears or what your beliefs about you or the world is. It only matters about are you able to go within and see the one who is noticing everything, because that one will be straight with you. It will be straight with you. It will say, the one that just notices everything does not do any judgment. It just goes, wow, that's going on. Even when you're acting like a crazy person, it's going like, wow. If I could put it into words, but this is even limiting as itself. I'd be going like, wow, you're acting like a crazy person. And that's just perfect, because it's a friendly universe. So I guess if that's true, which I don't know that it's true, but say it is true, even that is friendly. And then you get out of it. And can you imagine what it would be like in 12-step groups if people had that kind of attitude, that when they come into all this work, they all got together and they went, well, we tricked ourselves in telling us that we were bad and this thing was wrong, but actually it's our best friend, isn't it? What are you seeing? What are you seeing? I'm seeing something similar. Whoa, I didn't see that before. What more can we see from this? We are the luckiest addicts in the world. Oh, thank God for the yoga of addiction. Thank God for the yoga of addiction. Thank God for the yoga of a bad relationship. Thank God for the yoga of now, right now as it is. Thank God for the yoga of Trump. Thank God for the yoga of politics. All of it. It's just all creating that. Can you see? Can you see? Will you see? Not even can you see? Not even will you see? It's like, are you able now to see? Are you able now to see? And if you're not able to see, are you able to know that it's still a lie that you're blocking yourself from seeing? But I still want to continue doing it. Well, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But do you see what you're doing? Are you seeing the truth of it, why you're doing it? Because that's all that matters, is seeing the truth. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the yoga. It's the yoga of awakening, It's just the yoga of awakening, So I said a lot here. I know. I was really
You have, and I've taken quite a few notes, but I got to share with you what jumped out at me. Very, very simple. The yoga of Trump. Dale, as soon as you shared that, I've been listening very carefully for the last 40 minutes. And the vision that I got is as simple as that. And to record, edit and record this, or we've already recorded, edit it, post it like I always do. But then at the very top, put, for the yoga of Trump, go to the 40-minute mark. I had to share that with you because I've taken, several notes, no harm, no foul, friendly universe or hostile universe, truth is friendly, a better situation in the horror show. But this, just notice. But I always like something unique to catch an audience, with sort of a nuance or something clever. And that just came out of your mouth. So I wanted to point that out.
All right, cool. Well,
because, everyone wants to talk about Trump right now, and for good reason, because we're in uncharted territory, and like you've been saying for the last 40 minutes, everyone thinks, that 99 people think the outside causes the inside. So I'm upset because of, fill in the blank. But your message, and this is why I it's so important for us to get together every Sunday afternoon. Your message contains a solution.
And also, it contains a freedom, a vision of freedom.
It's a freedom. And solutions will not come unless we have freedom first.
Yeah.
This is what I was telling a friend. We had breakfast this morning, and I ponder this. I think a lot like you do. And that's also one of these in here. Thinking is not always my friend. But I realized, like Einstein said, what help me. You're better quotes than I am. Creativity is more important than knowledge. He said something similar.
He said imagination.
Imagination.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a new thought. People are going crazy right now because the old thoughts have all worn themselves out. That all the old thoughts have reached the climax. Good, according to your satsang the last 40 minutes. That's good. Because now we're ripe for a new thought, and that's going to require imagination, but that has to come first from a place of freedom. That's what I'm hearing on this Sunday.
It's got to come in from someplace new, because otherwise we'll just create the same old, and we'll say we're imagining a new world when in reality we're just moving the furniture around in a more, what we think is a more creative way.
I was writing an email to a friend this afternoon, and who's like everyone else, she's very upset over what's, and but as I was typing, something came out of me. I said, we were talking about the civil rights movement, and she's older than you, but she's a generation ahead of me. And I mentioned all the things that she had seen in her lifetime, but and the progression. She had seen the civil rights movement. I had seen, the gay rights movement. Because I'm a gay man. But along the way, there have always been setbacks that we perceive to be setbacks. And I just wrote. I said, did the assassination of Martin Luther King stop it from happening? And it brings me back to a quote from a friend of mine who always used the tagline of all of her emails were, the forces of evolution are unstoppable. So, we can't, this is just going to be the way of it. That's why Trump is the yoga for us. It's written in the script, for us to collectively go through our dark night of the soul, to have our collective collapse, to invite the imagination that's going to come from freedom, that's going to illuminate, like the sun behind me, illuminate. I don't know what's going to look like, but according to your lecture, if it's a friendly universe, it's got to be good.
Yeah. Well, but it's kind of, it's like that poster, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. And that's very true at times, because letting go of your expectations and your experience is going to be hard at times. And you may not be able, that's what I'm saying. You may not be able to do that. I just try to put out kernels of reality so that people can, you can bank on reality. You can't bank on anything else. I mean, if you could see a stream of reality, like for me, the stream of reality and thinking is always that phrase. That's just how I phrase it, where I go, and it's in all my thinking and everything now. It's like, I don't know that this means what I think it means. That's real. That's like Krishnamurti's, when Bohm is asking him, give me a rational thought. If you're saying all thought is irrational, give me one. And Krishnamurti goes, okay, here's one. All my thinking is irrational. There's one. I don't know if I got another. Other than the same thing. All my thinking is irrational. That is a rational thought. So that's like the Matrix, watching the Matrix. If you want to do Matrix 2 and 3 and expand on that and forget that you completed Matrix 1, go for it. Knock yourself out looking for another way. But that's the kernel. All my thinking is irrational. Of course it's irrational. It's all based on perception. And everything we perceive, no one really kind of thinks about that. It's like, even all the religions, they want to say, I mean, I remember the Baptists, when I went to a big Baptist church and was in ministerial school and sat in the back row. It's like, there's like, I don't know, there's like 2,000 people at this class. And they're talking about how through Revelation, like how many golf courses would be there, what their condos would look like in heaven, all this stuff, like it would be like that. And it's like, I'm sitting there going like, and they're all going like, yeah. And I'm like, are you people insane? What makes you think there'd be anything you'd recognize like that at all? I mean, that's this world. I mean, God, is that what heaven is? It's a reward so you get a better world. You get a better horror show to live in. Do you still have to pay mortgage on your house in heaven? Do you still have to get a job to afford that house? I mean, well, Jesus said you don't have to do that here, actually. You don't have to get a job in fact, you shouldn't, he called that evil, getting a job to make that happen. That God would provide for you. But in heaven, it's going to happen there, huh? Of course it's going to happen, because everything happens in the future. Because if it happens in the future, then I don't have to have it. I don't have to face it now. I don't have to face the reality now, which is the only place you can see the truth, is now. You cannot see it in the illusion of the past or the future, because there's nothing there. It's just now. What's real now? That's why the other thing I ask myself all the time whenever, if I start slipping from the first one, which is, I don't know that this means what I think it means, and I'm emotionally invested in it. I just have to stop myself and go, Dale, are you okay right now? And I go, well, yeah, I am okay right now. Well, what are you doing here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm futurizing when I won't be okay, won't I? Aren't I? It's like, or I'll have to battle to be okay, right? Yeah, it's like, well, it kind of looks like that. Are you okay now? Yeah. If you're okay now, can you have faith that every now you'll be okay? That every circumstance you face, that you've been 100% successful in facing, that you'll be able to face it again if you want to go into that future shit? Okay, yeah, I'm okay, aren't I? Yep, you're okay. Take a breath, get a bite of ice cream, take a nap, take a walk, call a friend, listen to Dale and Kenny's podcast, reach out, celebrate that you're okay with people who are doing the same thing. Because not everybody's doing that, most people are battling to preserve the control of their hell.
Maybe it's like this. Um, because to make this real simple, take a this last 50 minutes and compartmentalize it. I have written down collapse from thinking, but maybe this is the crux. Perhaps most people are ashamed. Maybe I'll speak for myself. I've been ashamed of what the Course in Miracles calls attack thoughts. Oh, I shouldn't be having this thought. I should be having a higher thought. This is a bad thought, judging my own thinking. But perhaps two or more one, .com is for others to see that if it's true we live in a friendly universe, that these thoughts are something we all share in common. As we go through the metaphysics, we discover it's not us, it's simply the ego. And then go back to my original post-it. If it is a friendly universe, something, very, very prophetic is taking place, because people think, oh my God, I'm depressed, I'm having anxiety, I must be mentally ill. No, 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 no. You're entering the cocoon of your transformation, and the first sign is we begin to collapse from our own thinking. I go back to like the two teachers you've been talking about for years, Byron Katie and Eckhart Tolle. They didn't collapse from alcohol. They didn't collapse from drugs. Well, not really. What they collapsed from was thought. Takes right back to the work of Krishnamurti, Boehm, and just everything you've been talking about. Dale, I just love these. They're intense, and that's why I get them on recording so I can go back and listen very carefully.
Yeah,
because I find these helpful. I was coming back from Walmart, this afternoon. I was really dragging, and I say, all right, what's, and when I drag, I lose sight of and all of a sudden it dawned on me. It was so simple. I was looking for a complicated solution, but it wasn't complicated. Snap back. You're on the Cardia Terra. It's Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon in Mexico. Stop complicating it. Focus on the trees in front of you. That's simple sometimes, but we don't. But I'm not going to ghost over all the challenges that preceded that. It's like when I'm talking to you. My mind drifts when you lecture. So I look out the window on the bougainvillea in front of me, and I see a butterfly. It's that simple. Snap it.
Well, we get so attached. I said this before too. Like some of the work I'm doing right now is learning how to be at peace in nothing or boredom. What I called nothing or boredom, which is okay. I mean, in fact, that really needs to be explored. And because there's this attachment to drama, like sensational drama. It reminds me of a minister friend of mine. He's passed on. He was kind of old when he became a minister. He was like probably about my age when he became a minister. And he was an old Navy guy and an alcoholic. And I remember him telling me one time that when he was recovered from alcohol, he was recovering from alcohol, I guess we would call it. He said what he missed was, one of the things he missed was waking up the next morning from a drunk in the back of somebody's car. He didn't even know whose car it was, vomit all over the place. And it was like, and he'd get out and get himself going then. And it'd be like there was an excitement to the alcoholism taken into this scary, dramatic place in the back of a car that he probably just got in. And there was something, it was like that was his world. When he was a drunk, those kind of things were part of it. Well, we're all drunks in our own ways, and we have things that say, well, this needs to be happening. Everything from our cup of coffee in the morning to to, what happens at work, or if we have work or something like that, what traffic's like. We have all that. What happens if, this is what I find, what happens when everything, when the universe starts moving us in ways that starts taking away our dramas. Just starts taking them away. Like you start seeing that everything just moves. Your car radio, like I said, car radio doesn't work, quits all of a sudden. You go, okay, all right, I can accept that. 2 weeks later, it starts back up again. And you're not sitting there going, when it's going to quit again. You're going like, oh, that's cool, it's working again. Is that good? Does that, how does that feel? I'm going, I don't know, but I didn't spend any time worrying about fixing it, did I? No, no, no. You don't have to worry about fixing things like this anymore. Things just move and change. Maybe the car, you'll get rid of it. I don't know. You never know what could happen, and when drama starts ending, you start seeing everything working together. When everything works together, then you realize your part has changed from trying to manipulate and be responsible for your part in fixing the drama to watching the universe work, watching the dance that goes on that you're dancing in, and just watching it and feeling it and noticing how different it is. Like what you thought was boredom now is another kind of dance that you're going like, oh, well, are you okay, Dale? Are you all right right now? Yeah, I'm all right. This is different though. Yeah, it is, isn't it? But are you all right? And I go, are you okay? And I go, yeah, I'm okay. It just feels strange, feels different. Well, yeah, because you haven't been, it feels different when you're not doing the drug of responsibility. That's a heavy duty drug. And you're on withdrawal from that, buddy. You're on withdrawal from that drug. But all the people in the world that say, you got to be yeah, and they're all drunks, Dale. And they don't want to be drunk either. So lead the way. Lead the way. God says you don't have to be a drunk on responsibility. So dance and show people, because there's people out there that are ready to dance to that too. They're not all arguing to keep it. And the ones that want to keep it, let them do all the freaking field work until you finally go, I've had enough of this. Or they do it when they die. They say, I've been responsible all my life. And you're saying to let go of everything? No, I'm not saying to let go of everything. I'm saying you will let go of everything. You're done here. You're done. You're leaving now. In the world, everything you have no responsibility for, and it's dissolving away from you. Dissolving away. Oh, I don't know that I like that. Yeah, I know. I didn't think you'd like that, but you will like it. But first, the truth will make you free, and first it'll make you miserable. This is the miserable part. When you have to let go of what you just have insisted and build a life upon holding on to. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing that. That's the field work that for all humanity, we need lots of field work like that. Like all the millennials and all the Gen Zers right now that are doing such, God bless their souls. They're doing such incredible field work on isolation, on isolating from people right next to them, trying to create an isolated state in the midst of all this community that is crying out to be reached and stuff. And they're all pushing this virtual moment where you're alone. Why? Because they need to, because we need to push that moment. We need to hit rock bottom on that as a consciousness. We need to hit rock bottom on it. That efficiency into isolation, you can say efficiency is good, responsible efficiency. But if it's efficiency to go is like how you condition yourself to hell, is that really what you can do, want to do? First, you ask yourself that. And then it's like at the very end, it's like Spirit saying, yeah, I know you still got to dot that in that you think you ought to do that. But this is called grace. And we're not going to let you just build yourself into hell. That isn't that isn't who you are, and there is no hell. You can't maintain it. You're going to have to, here it goes. Let go. Let go.
I've got to share with you 2 notes that I took. The first one, because I wish I could get all the, but you have to have one thumbnail for the YouTube video. Withdraw from the drug of responsibility. But the one that made me give me a little bit of chuckle is kind of how I want to wrap this up. Are there golf courses and condos in heaven? I'd love to hear more about that, because you skip by that, but you could do a whole lecture on that by itself. Anything else you want to wrap, Dale? This has been exceptionally good Sunday.
Yeah, that's probably that's probably good. I'm kind of like came to that place where it feels like, yeah, that looks like that's it.
Well, what do you mean? That's a lot to be it. Right?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's it for now.
now, well, it's going to take me 7 days to integrate that before our next show. All right. So this has been Reverend Kenneth Price with Reverend Dale Blackford on Sunday, December 1st. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comments, share, like, and subscribe, and reach out to, everything is on our website, 2ormoreare1.com. Reach out to us. This is the whole purpose of this ministry is we everyone is having these experiences, but they're all like in the shadows saying, I shouldn't be having these experiences. No, you should be having these experiences.
I'm going to throw this out too. I'm going to one line, and that is don't practice your addictions don't practice or do practice. Let's put it this way: do practice your addictions irresponsibly.
Okay,
try it.
Because how else? I mean, unless we know it for ourselves, we're just going to be practicing rules. So it's like we say in AA. The data is in, but it's going to be our data. So it's an impactful message. I just love that we can record these and have social media. All right, so that's it for this Sunday for Freedom from Suffering with Reverend Dale Blackford. And much love, and may the force be with you. God bless until next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.